Hello, so I'll experiment with this university lecture style presentation, although I am using Paint and not OneNote, for example. So I want to talk about how to abuse the HRE and how to actually play around with the HRE. I don't see anybody do the sorts of things that I do with the HRE, and so I want to see more people do crazy things with the HRE. So I'm going to divide this into 3 sections. Okay, this video is going to be about the Bast Revoke. And on a subsequent video, I'll talk about the Lambda Revoke and, importantly, what you do after you revoke. So in summary, I'm going to present 2 fast revoke strategies. And when I say fast revoke, I'm talking about revoking around 1480, 1490, 1500, and so on. But I do want to emphasize that you can use the you can use the strategies that I present, and you don't have to necessarily revoke super quickly. You can still apply it to the more, ordinary campaigns, if I may say like that. So before that, I want to talk about some theory. Yeah, theory is somewhat important. So the heart of the 2 fast revoke strategies is the idea of spamming join HRE. So let's discuss about some properties of the join HRE button. First, the Emperor gets a 5 Imperial Authority boost immediately. Okay, and it does not, necessarily add all your provinces. Okay, in particular, this means that your capital won't necessarily join. Okay, and this here is what really powers the fast revoke strategies that we know right now. Now, I do know of exactly how the join HRE works. It's very complicated. The idea is that it takes in a list of eligible provinces, and from there recursively adds all provinces that are adjacent to it. Okay, there's a very complicated algorithm that goes on, well, that we believe is going on. But the short point is that you can isolate your capital. Okay, and if you isolate your capital successfully, you can click join HRE and not actually join the empire. Okay, now this does not mean you can spam join HRE, because there are little issues with that. You need an eligible province, so to speak, to actually click join HRE again. But we'll see how you can actually get around this limitation. So, to summarize, both Bast Revoke and the Lambda Revoke, by the way, today we're covering the Bast Revoke, right, uses this fact. So, really, understanding how join HRE works will get you to understand what Bast Revoke and Lambda Revokes are. But anyway, let's go over the Bast Revoke. So, recall that you can join HRE for 5 IA. Now, if you're not the current emperor, you can remove a province from the HRE at the cost of 1 Imperial Authority and a 50 Opinion Malus from the current emperor. Okay, and the crucial observation here is that this Opinion Malus actually caps at 200. Okay, and remember that to join HRE, you need 100 plus your effective development divided by 2 opinion of the current emperor, usually Austria. So, for example, actually, let me define what your effective development is. That's defined as your development plus the sum of your subject's development. So basically you take your development and you add all your subject's development. Okay, the important part here is that unlike the Great Power listing, there is no divided by 2 factor. So releasing vassals won't really help you. You need to actually lose land, or you need to lose the vassals themselves. Okay, so let's go over an example. Say you're a 100 dev nation with no vassals. Well, then, according to this formula, you need 100 plus your development's 100 divided by 2. So you need 150 opinion on Austria to join HRE. Okay, I hope you get the idea. So, putting all this together, if you have 300 plus effective development over 2 opinion on the emperor, you can actually repeatedly join HRE and remove a province from the HRE. Okay, because remember, this gives you a 50 opinion malice, but it caps at negative 200. So you can imagine that this 300 takes into account the negative 200 opinion malice that comes from removing provinces from the HRE. Okay, and what this will do is you can have the AI emperor, usually Austria, pass a lot of reforms for you. Okay, not all the reforms, because the AI, as far as I know, always goes decentralization in the new patch. I actually don't know if there's a way to make them go centralization. That'd be a very important optimization. Okay, but the point is, you let the AI emperor pass a lot of reforms, and then you take over as the emperor. You take over the emperorship, and then you pass the rest using standard means, like expand empire CB. Okay, so there's not much science that goes on between 4 and 5. So between 4 and 5, you just have to, diplomatically improve your opinion with the electors, naturally get voted, and then go over the rest of your reforms. So let's put this to use. Okay, I'm going to switch to EU4. So, I think Hungary is one of the easiest nations to do this revoke. Why? Because it has a historical friend plus 25 opinion on Austria. Okay, so the idea is you improve opinion using a bunch of means. We'll later discuss how you do it in a practical sense. But for now, let's just imagine that I got myself a lot of opinion on Austria. Okay, I'm not sure if this is enough. Let's scornfully insult Ottomans, for example. Okay, and now Hungary has a lot of dev. Hungary itself has 176 dev, and Croatia, I don't know, let's see, has 41 dev. So let's lose some of our effective development. What I recommend doing is I just recommend accepting demands of rebels. Okay, this will significantly lower your dev, and the important part is you get to keep your cores on it, so you can reconquest it later pretty cheaply. Okay, then you're going to feed Croatia, a line of provinces to isolate your capital. Now again, I haven't explained exactly how the whole process works, but intuitively you can see that your capital Pest no longer is connected to the HRE through your provinces. Before, for example, you could have gone from this province to your capital, but now there's no valid path from the HRE to your capital, including your provinces. Okay. So now, now I need to get rid of Croatia. Remember, vassals and subjects fully count towards the effective development. Okay, and now I have 79 dev, so I believe the requirement rounds up, so I need 140 opinion on Austria. The math I did is 100 plus 79/2 rounded up. Okay, and now I can click Join HRE. So if I click Join HRE, Austria gets 5 imperial authority. Now and you'll notice that my capital nor any of my isolated provinces did not join the HRE. Only this province joined the HRE. Okay. And then now you can take this province, remove it from the empire, and there will be a 1 imperial authority hit. But that's no big deal, because you can join HRE again, remove, join HRE, remove, join HRE, remove, and so on. Oh, and you'll see that we've hit our opinion mouse cap, -200, and it seems like we currently don't have enough relations. So we'll let 1 month tick and send gift or something. Okay, now we should have enough opinion. So we'll keep doing the process. Join HRE, remove, join HRE, remove, join HRE, remove, and so on. And again, I'll emphasize the point that the removed provinces from the Empire opinion mouse caps at -200. This is what lets us spam this. Okay. And now, once you have around 50, you might need a bit more for the latter reforms. You can unpause. And hey, the Emperor passes a reform. Okay? And you're going to keep repeating this. And the whole point of this is that every time you do all this, you don't even take a single in-game day. You can do this while paused. You just need to unpause for a couple days for the Emperor to pass the reform. But other than that, it's almost an instant way to farm Imperial Authority. Okay, I'm going to unpause again. Boom. He passed another reform. And just for the sake of time, I'm just going to use console to give him enough Imperial Authority for the rest. But you can imagine you just keep going through the join HRE remove click. Okay, and personally, I recommend you stop around 20 Imperial Authority right before the last reform, because the AI, as I said, tends to pass decentralization. So you want to be able to take over the emperorship before they pass in this reform. So from my experience, around 20 Imperial Authority is like a good safe bet. But if you want to be more aggressive, you can literally do 50 and just hope that the current AI Austria Emperor dies pretty quickly. Okay, now at the end, what you should do is you should move your capital to this province. So you join the HRE this time. Okay, and now you're a prince in the empire, and you go through the usual process of taking over the emperorship by allying electors, improving relations, and so on. Okay, now the question is, what do you do after you get to this point, right? What do you do after you get elected? Because now you can't repeat that trick. Well, you gotta use expand empire CB generously and speed reform. Okay, so before we end, let's talk about ways to get opinion. So, first of all, there is plus 100 from improving. I'm not gonna rate the plus. There's 25 from royal marriage, 50 from alliance, and let's say 25 from send gift. Okay, so that already is 200. Remember, we need over 300. Now, Hungary has historical friends, that's 25. They also have, let's see, you can humiliate a rival for 25. You can subsidies for 15. You can be the defender of faith for 10, I believe. It's either 10 or 15, sorry, this is dubious. You can, let's see, I probably should have prepared a listing. You can have a common rival for 20. Okay, and I believe you have 15 for same dynasty? Okay, honestly, these numbers are dubious. I should have prepared a bit more. And I believe you have like 10 for shared consort. So that's a thing that happens when you send a royal marriage and you get a wife of their dynasty. Okay, I don't know. So you do a bunch of these, and there are also RNG events that you can hope it to trigger. There's a 50 opinion event by sending a merchant to Wien, and using the plus 15% improve relations merchant policy. There's 60 from diplomatic insult. And there probably is a lot more that I'm missing. But the point is, it's there. There are lots of ways to do it. And you want to somehow get to that 300 plus opinion threshold, which might be difficult, but you can be creative about it. Okay? So that's the Bast Revoke. I think this is the easier of the revokes, but it's not as powerful because you need to be very small and you don't actually get to revoke super quickly. You only get a lot of free imperial authority to start with, in a sense, by letting Austria pass a bunch of reforms. Okay.